as he sends us out. Lowry Parks is AZA accredited, which means you've reached the highest industry standards in areas of conservation, recreation, science, and education. Now over here on the right, we are looking for a couple different animals. You have some Potus monkeys first. They're very social and can live in large groups of about 60 individuals, with there being one male and the rest being females. They're also the fastest primates in the world, and they run at about 35 miles an hour, giving them their nicknames, the Greyhounds of the Savannah. You do also have the yellow-backed dikers in here, the medium-sized black antelopes. Their name diker means to dive, referring to the way that they hide in bushes to avoid their predators. And they are the largest of the dikers. And maybe a bit later, we'll get a chance to see some of the smallest. If I do see those, I will point them out for you. And as we go ahead and pass through the first gate, we're looking on the left for those large antelopes called greater kudus. The males weigh around 600 pounds, and the females weigh about 460 pounds. Those antelopes are actually able to stand perfectly statue still for around 2 hours straight, but then they need to run around for a bit to release some of their energy. Also on the left, you do have two marabou storks over here. They're one of the largest living land birds with around a 12-foot wingspan. They're also sometimes called the Undertaker birds because of their appearance from behind, with their large cloak-like black wings and skinny white legs. And as we go ahead and pass through the second gate, we're looking around for a few different animals. Now, some in here like to hide from us a bit, so we'll keep our eyes open. I will point out as many as I can find. You have some more of the storks in here, but they are a mating pair, and that's why they are separated from the others. And we also have another bird species right here on the left. They are the two East African crowned cranes. They get their names from the gold plumage on their heads, which looks a lot like a crown. They're also sometimes called the living fossils, because their bones have been found in fossil records dating back about 50 million years. Also in that same area, just between the logs and rocks over here, you'll see a very small antelope that is a bay diker, related to the yellow-backed diker we did just see in the exhibit with the monkeys. Now those are one of the smallest antelopes in the world, and they are fully grown antelopes, so they do not get any bigger than that. We might see some more of them in one of the final exhibits. If I do see them again, I will point them out for you. There is another one, though, on the other side of the rocks and logs. You can see that one a little bit better. There's also a very large antelope on the right. That is Keto. He is an eastern bongo, one of the largest species of forest antelopes. They weigh around 900 pounds, and they are critically endangered. So there's only around 100 of them left in the wild, or though about 600 of them in captivity. So they're doing pretty well in captivity right now. You can see he is trying to talk through the fence to his girlfriend over there. They haven't actually met just yet, since we did just get the girls a couple months ago, or actually about a month ago now. But eventually they will all be in here together. We also have, on the right, we're looking for, hopefully we can see them. They might be hiding from us. There is an eagle on the right, but I think, oh, he's up in the top right-hand corner, all the way in the very back. They have about, it's a martial eagle. They have about an 8.5-foot wingspan and 3 times the size of a human, allowing them to see prey at great distances. Their talons are also reportedly strong enough to break the grown man's arm. And that bird in there, his name is Marshall. And yes, we do have a martial eagle named Marshall. And then we're going to go ahead and go through our third and final gate here. We just have to wait for it to close behind us. And as soon as it does, we will be on our way again.
These are cars. It's a car.
Alright, so coming up here on the left, we are looking for a very interesting animal. They are the okapis, and they have the legs of a zebra, the body of a horse, and the head of a giraffe. They're actually only related to the giraffes, though, and share traits with them, like the small, bony horns on their heads called ossicones, which only the males have. They also have very long tongues, which they use to clean the insides and outsides of their ears and the backs of their heads. And they're very well camouflaged, live very secluded lives, so it took us until 1901 to discover them in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. So they're not a lab experiment, even though they do look a lot like one. Now here on the left, we're looking for our newest animal. They are right there in the center by the palm trees, the African painted dogs. They're actually not related to dogs whatsoever. They are their own individual species. They're very successful hunters at about an 80% success rate. They can hunt for over 12 hours every day and run over 40 miles an hour for a very long period of time. They do take care of the sick and elderly in their group, and they give the younger dogs the first priority when eating. And that is a male and female in there. And then here on the left, you have our white rhino night house. We call this a boma, which is Swahili for shelter. There are 2 rhinos in there right now, a mother and baby. And the baby's name is Kapenzi, and she's about 1.5 years old right now. Now, don't worry if you can't see those rhinos too well, because we're going to go ahead and go up onto their exhibit here in just a second and see the rest of the rhinos. They should be much easier for us to see. And that does include the other baby rhino as well. So, we'll talk about them here in just a second when we can see them a little bit better. Now, it looks like first up we do have the imperial zebras in here. They are the largest and the most endangered of all zebras. They weigh around 1,000 pounds and are identified by the thin stripes that run from their backs down to their white underbellies. And each zebra stripe pattern is individual to them, just like our fingerprints are individual to each of us. And then we also have some more of the rhinos coming up here in a second. And they are one of the largest land animals. They weigh around 6,000 pounds. And their horns are made of keratin, which is the same material that our hair and fingernails are made out of. So if it were to fall off for some reason, it would grow back. And you can't see the other baby rhino just on the other side of her mom there. And her name is Ahadi, and she is 2.5 years old. She's really not much of a baby anymore, though, since she already weighs over 2,000 pounds. And then also coming up on both sides, we do have the African elephants. They are the largest land animals, and they weigh 5 to 7 tons and stand about 14 feet tall. Their trunks have over 150,000 muscles, which help them push, pull, and carry things. It's not used as a straw, but can be used as a snorkel and lift over 750 pounds. And that is the male there on the right. He is our largest. He weighs around 10,000 pounds, and he is the father of both of the babies that we have here. And on the left, you have all 5 of the females, the 3 adults and 2 babies. The babies' names are Mavi and Yumi, and they are 4.5 and 5 years old right now. Also, all the way in the back, I do see 2 giraffes. Now, don't worry if you can't see them too well, because we're going to go behind their barn here in just a second and try to get a better look at them. So we'll talk about them a little bit more here in just a second, but you can always still go check them out on the walking path, and up at their feeding platform you actually get a much better view of the giraffes on that side. So we'll go ahead and back there and talk about them a bit more in just a second. We do have one of the adult female elephants actually right here next to us. We're going to go ahead and pass through our elephant transfer gates here, which we use every day to move the elephants out onto the exhibits. And the elephant barn here on the left is a very large structure to house the elephants at night, and in the case of severe weather can be used to house the giraffes as well. Now we do have a few yellow buildings coming up. The first one on the right is the Teatman Cotton Animal Care Annex, where we can house the primates for around 30 days before they go out onto the exhibits. And also on the left, we have the giraffe barn, very tall structure to house the 19-foot tall giraffes inside. We actually have 3 different species of giraffes here: Maasai, reticulated, and Rothschild. And they are identified by the different colors and patterns on their bodies. Like I said, I definitely still recommend that you go check them out on the walking path, because you will get a much clearer and closer view of the giraffes over there. We can always point you in the direction as to where that is at the end. And They also have the animal hospital right here on the right. It is a state-of-the-art facility. It has its own operating room in there and its own pharmacy as well. And then we also have the animal commissary coming up where we prepare the diets for all of the animals here at the zoo. And then right here on the left, you have a few different animals. You have the antelopes, the medium-sized ones, the lowland nyalas, related to the greater kudus we saw at the beginning. Now, that is the male right there. He does look very different from the females, but they are in fact the same. We also have in here a couple more of those storks that we saw previously. There's also some blackbirds with red faces. They're kind of hard to see. I see one underneath those logs. Those are the southern ground hornbills, and they have large beaks to help them capture their prey, like snakes, rodents, and insects, and they can fly, but spend most of their time on the ground. And then also over here on the left, we do have the Aldabra tortoises. They are the second largest of all tortoise in the world.
Wow.
And they come from the Aldabra Atoll off the coast of Madagascar. And they have been thought to live to around 200 years of age, which is sometimes hard to verify since they outlive their human observers. And then on the other side of the tortoise night house, we have the Galapagos tortoises, which are the largest, and they weigh over 500 pounds and are about 5 feet in length. And when they hatch, they are only about 2 ounces and 2 inches in length. We're going to go ahead and pass over the tunnel now back into Safari Africa, where we began the tour. I do ask that you guys just please remain seated until we come to make a complete stop. And when we do, we will open up the chains for you. And then you can go ahead and stand up and exit to your left and have a great rest of your day at Lowry Park Zoo.